Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we were back. We were back and fired up. Had a coffee at 3 o'clock. Yeah, we're good to go. I need to warn. Sorry, need to warn everyone. I was cringe on the internet today. Don't know how I feel about it. I feel pretty bad actually. That's pretty easy. But yeah, I might have been cringe on the internet. Uh, it is I don't know how to do it. I made an account, right? You know, I was talking about this morning, like making an Instagram account to follow sources. Well, I got baited. I got baited into commenting. I commented a few times. It was not good. That's not the point of this. We're not trying to play into anything. We're supposed to be a third party observer. You know what I mean? And not to mention, we're supposed to be writing a bill right now. It's been a week. We haven't done anything for it. But uh, but yeah, I was cringe on the internet. I had to admit that. You know, that's my fault. That's my fault. I was taking this whole bridging the gap and finding the middle thing too literally, and yeah, and I got trapped. I got trapped by the by the hate that was going around. I didn't say anything crazy. I was more just like, they were. I'll just pull it up. I'll pull it up. Uh, because I feel bad. I mean, it just feels cringe, because I started forcing it. Like the first time I commented, it felt natural, right? It felt like, yeah, there's a other side to this story that I can provide, and maybe tamp down some of the rhetoric that's going around in the comments. But then I was like, and then I sent that and I was like, you know what? I should probably balance this out by saying something on the left. And I came across this New York Times video of this ICE agent just fucking decking this poor woman. And I was like, that was excessive, but she did corner him, And it was just like, it was so, like, such a reach for, to like see both sides, but there's no two sides to that. I mean, this man fucking decked this woman and in just complete full force, uh, you know, shoved her full force and then threw her to the ground. She probably fell. She's probably like, "Holy fuck, what are you doing? Why are you attacking me like this?" And she fell to the ground. Luckily, I don't think anyone was hurt. I mean, it was like she could have like cracked her head. That's a hard floor to fall on. It's not carpet. But yeah, you gotta have empathy because it's like, her husband was being arrested, so they're, taking him away to send him out of the country, and she's like, someone explain to me why my husband's being, arrested, and she's not, I don't know if she's not like natively born in America, so I'm trying to find a way to say that she's not an English speaker. I don't know if she's an English speaker, or native English speaker, so communication, is a struggle in that scenario, especially when things are very heated. You're just like, can you please just don't take my husband away? And he's just like, whoa, and he just fucking way over the line. And yeah, and that was cringe. That was cringe of me to be like, oh, yeah, you cornered her. It's like, no, no, that's wrong. It doesn't take. If you don't think that's wrong, you're racist. Basically, is the way I see it. That might be polarizing, but you should see the way he threw this woman. Uh, yeah, completely lost his cool. I got another calzone from yesterday. I ordered this during work. I was like, yeah, last 20 minutes, I'm putting in this order. That's what I'm looking forward to. Shit. What were we gonna look at? I know when we left off this morning, we were looking at the Tylenol thing, and the White House posted a meme about Tylenol, which was really funny to see. Uh, it was like it was a screenshot from a post somewhere, just a post of Tylenol saying we don't recommend using Tylenol when you're pregnant. and it was another picture of Trump underneath it. It's like Trump was always right or something. I forget what the hat says. Or Trump was right about everything. And it's like, yeah, that's the problem with these memes is like there's a lot of nuance to it because it's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't use Tylenol when you're pregnant, but that doesn't mean it causes autism. You know what I mean? Like that's an over-counter drug. There's a lot of things you can't do when you're pregnant. You can't drink when you're pregnant. That causes problems too. But you know, that's kind of a bad example. That's a terrible example. But you know what I mean? When there's nuance, it's like, yeah, you can say that you shouldn't take a lot of Tylenol when you're pregnant, because you're pregnant. There's a lot of restrictions in pregnancy of like you can't eat seafood. You can't have a lot of mercury. Mercury, I think, is what I remember. Uh, that's a true thing. It's just that we're pushing out this. There's a narrative that we're DOH is saying that you can't have. There's a link between Tylenol and autism, but yeah, we were gonna dive into that and see how legitimate that was. I want to watch that Nike commercial while I eat. What if? Why do it? God, I was laughing so hard during lunch because I was watching over the VOD to see like what we covered, and this was from yesterday after work. Just going through the VOD, seeing how the levels sounded and everything, because I'm my biggest fan, kind of my only fan, but only fans, but uh, yeah, I was just watching over this clip, and God, that picture of LeBron just, you know, rising, a rising horizon of LeBron coming up from behind that ball, you know, that's great cinematography. That's
Why
just
do it?
beautiful.
Why would you make it harder on yourself? Why chance it? Why put it on the line? With so much at stake, with so much room to fail, with so much room to fail. Why? With so much at stake, with so much room to fail. Why risk it? Why would you dare? Seriously, why? You could give everything you have and still lose. But my question is, what if you don't?
Okay, here we go. You ready? When Jane was in 6th grade, she wanted to break her school 1600-meter record. And I said, well, Jane, these are kind of the times you're going to need to hit. Let's do some intervals. Go. We finished 2 of the reps, and she couldn't hold it. Whoa, 1 away. She got so frustrated and discouraged. She had some tears. She realized at that moment she wasn't ready. As a parent, I just saw a little glimpse of that potential. You see a kid going after a big goal, a big dream. Even though she got discouraged, she got back up. Marks, get set, go.
Look at this tempo. Look at the turnover. And look at how comfortable she's on her toes.
She is flying around the far turn.
Jane Hedengren really is
once in a generation.
This is a superhuman athlete.
A couple of laps in, already showing how she is the best of the best.
And seeing her against the best runners in the nation, girls that are having full ride, NIL deals, huge scholarships.
This is best of the
She is
best.
blowing them
Oh
out
my
of
God.
the water.
I mean, this is the creme de la creme of high schoolers, the top high schoolers in the country. She's making mincemeat out of.
She has done everything she needed to prove she is the best at every distance. She set outdoor track and field records in the 16, the mile, the 3K, the 32.
She's gonna break the national 3,200-meter record there!
Once again, resetting the all-time UL high school mark, 8:40.03.
The 2 mile, the 5K.
Outrunning expectations.
We are witnesses to greatness!
And then indoors, she set the mile and the 5K record.
And there it is!
History at Nike Indoor Nationals. She is broken and shattered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 national high school records.
Have you ever seen anything more impressive than this? Ever?
No.
Jane has had one of the best and most historic high school careers in history, and she's just getting started.
I like to think that the race is often won before the gun even goes off. It's the preparation in the months prior. I just love the process of the work and what goes into an event. That's really exciting, being able to work up to something and want to show out on the day.
I think most people who are involved in sports would say it really takes 3 elements to be elite in any sport. You have to have an incredible genetic makeup, you have to have an incredible mental capacity, and an incredible work ethic. And Jane has all 3 of those to 100%.
The thing that impresses me so much is when someone will ask her about, do you have your eye on any certain records this coming season or things like that, and she doesn't care very much about the records. She's not intimidated to just go out there and see what she's able to do.
Hendrickson has a shot at history with 1K to go.
This is such a gift. And I just want to see how far I can take it.
Number 8, huh? Yeah. Okay. On your marks. Get set. Good, Jane. Good, Jane.
When I was in 6th grade, I was shooting for the elementary school mile record.
Good job. That's a good pace right there. Good job.
And so my dad and I would be out training, and I wasn't able to hit the splits.
Whoa, 1 away.
And that discouraged me.
That was a 45, last 200. Pick it up just a little bit. You're good.
But I think he allowed me to have that time, take that perspective, and not lose hope.
You gotta dig down right here. Dig down. Last lap.
A few months later down the road, I was able to run it at the actual meet.
537, 538, 539, 540, 541. Woo! You did it! You did it, Jane! And new school record right here. Nice job!
Like the analogy of the boxer, you only lose when you don't get back up.
The best ever at every distance.
She has a good understanding of herself, but I think in the back of her mind, she also knows that there's some little girl who's thinking, I want to be like that.
Yeah, that's incredible. What an inspiration. That sounded sarcastic, but no, good for her. Uh, I was kind of hoping it would be more commercials, like short commercials with LeBron popping up, but no, that was cool. Excuse me. I think I ate that too fast. That was my reward for getting through the week. That was my second reward. Oh man. Plus, I didn't want to. I was thinking about like I don't know, getting some beer, but then I was like, that's kind of that's not fun. You know, that's not worth it. You know, you have a plus drinking on camera feels weird. You know what I mean? It's like why don't you go out? But also it's a waste of money and it's bad for you. That calzone's not great. You know, not great for you, but it's and it probably makes you feel like shit in the morning too. But it's good. It's good and cheap. Oh man, cheaper. All right, hang on. I need to get Chipotle or go to Chipotle and get more napkins. Okay, I'm officially out. But oh yeah, that's six. God, man, that 5:30 time just really takes it out of you. It might be that calzone. You know, now that I think about it, that calzone might be the thing that's taking it out of me. Uh, who should we? Was there a bill associated with this Tylenol thing? I don't think so, because this is just coming from the FDA. Uh, Bill Cassidy. This is good. This is what we like to see. Okay. Again, I'm taking sides. I need to relax. That's like 3 times now that I've done that. But it's interesting to see CNN come together. Committee is calling on the Democratic Health and Human Services to release any evidence tying acetaminophen use during pregnancy to autism, noting that the preponderance of evidence shows that this is not the case. Desire to address this issue and support HSS. HSS should release the new data that it has to support this claim. Is that not what's HHS? Health and Human Services? Yeah. HSS Tylenol. Because the FDA said something. Uh, okay, autism announcement fact sheet. To announce progress in uncovering the root causes of autism as promised by Secretary Kennedy. God, I can't read. 3 announcements made today include as a promising treatment for symptoms of autism, a notice to physicians on the use of acetaminophen, and announcements of recipients. NIH Autism Data Science Initiative. Including autistic symptoms, but is that a diagnosis? I don't know. Oh, that sounds scary. We're gonna give you vitamin B to the brain Analysis across 23 publications demonstrated the effectiveness of overall 85 patients experienced some type of clinical benefit, including improved speech communication capabilities. An autoimmune form of CFD suggests that these patients may also benefit from treatment. However, data is limited. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Losing. I gotta do something. I feel cringe. I feel cringe looking into this. Acetaminophen use in in pregnancy. We saw that. We saw that. To exposure to altered brain development. Conflicting findings. Family-based Scandinavian studies comparing exposed and unexposed children have not shown significant associations. Critics from the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai and Harvard argue that statistical adjustments in these analyses may mask true effects. I was worried about the statistics. I said that this morning, but that's also because I don't know shit. Let's look up data brokers, huh? Right? Data brokers. News regarding. God, I had a good list of shit to look in. Watch is data broker. Opt-out pages. I don't know if this is a real site, but to establish damage protectors, consumers neutral data. I don't want to go to your document cloud. Neutral Data Act 2025. My body, my data. Oh, it's European. What? U.S. senators, no. Let me fix this. No single neutral years marked by numerous. FTC. Record from recorded future news. Act. Your query may. Management of Individuals Neutral Data Act 2025. Chuck Schumer. Okay, yeah, that sounds. Because they were mentioning that. I just was looking at something else. Okay. Susan Wild, introduced 2023. Nope. God, I gotta copy the actual name. Management of Individuals Neutral Data Act. God, it's so hard to find the information you need. Just bring it up. 119th Congress. Study on the governance of neutral data and other related data and for other purposes. Being enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States and Congress assembled. This act may be cited as the Management of Individuals Neutral Data Act of 2025 or the MIND Act of 2025. I'm glad that this has been coming out, but when was it posted? We got a shutdown we got to avoid. That's in 2 days. Uh, we were trying to get Medicaid cuts to get that off the docket, and we're like, no, shut that down. We got 2 days, 2 days till the government shuts down, and then that's I don't know what you do there. You work for free, you know, but yeah, I don't know how that what that does to us. I know the government's shut down before. I know it's shut down for quite a bit, actually. If I remember correctly, like a couple of years ago. Uh, I don't remember what happened, but that's not good. I imagine people that get paid by the state don't receive payment. So like firefighters and police, right? Do police get paid if the government shuts down? Federal law enforcement may continue to work without pay during state. Okay, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm dumb. I'm super dumb. Dumb and cringe. Okay, when was this bill put out? The Mine Act. I'm surprised there isn't more. 2 days ago. Can I look at what the Senate bills? If this was 2 days ago, topic note. This act of legislations. I don't want to see Bills Act. Public law. Oh, that's not what I wanted. It's a bill. Uh, Senate Committee of Commerce. I need to look at current bills. I want to know like bills that had been introduced. I want to figure out when this was, because you know how we've been looking at the House page where you can look at the actual bills there, and then they got like hyperlinks and shit like that. I want something uh like that. Floor proceedings, that might be it. Uh 2025 uh Daily Digest. I don't know what this is. Senate section of acting president pro tempore, adjournment until Thursday, September 25th. Yeah, so they're doing stuff. Why was this? Not to mention this is not moving very fast. Govinfo.gov. Oh, okay, get rid of this. Pro forma. House section. Prayer, the Journal, Pledge of Allegiance, welcome, announcement, national power, MIA recognition, honoring the life of Honorable Gladys. Political violence, what I learned from Charlie Kirk, life-saving food, protecting rural college required for resignation. I remember reading that. What was the 19th? That was last Friday. Okay. I mean, we could just, read. We could just read the bill, but I 119th Congress, first session, legislative day. It's not included. Chuck Schumer introduced the following bill, which was read twice and referred to the committee on. Individuals' neutral data and other related data can be monetized and used to shape individual behavior, emotional states, and decision-making in ways existing laws do not adequately address. Vertical corporate integration of neurotechnology, artificial intelligence systems, wearable devices, digital platforms, and global data infrastructure may create interconnected systems with insufficient transparency, accountability, and user control regarding the use of such data. Such concentration increases the risks of behavioral influence, cognitive manipulation, erosion of personal autonomy, and the exacerbation of existing social and economic disparities, particularly in the absence of enforceable privacy protections, including protections of neural data and other related data. I thought I was going to say neutral. The absence of a comprehensive federal standard for the collection, processing, and international transfer of such data presents risks to civil liberties and to national security, given the dual use potential of and foreign interests in the data assets of the United States. Strong protections for such data are essential to safeguard privacy, prevent discrimination and exploitation, and ensure that innovation in neurotechnology applications proceeds with accountability and public trust. Neurotechnology? What the fuck are we talking about here, Chuck? Oh my god. Are we already preparing for brain implants? Is that what this is? What do you mean by neurotechnology? I, we I mean last week, right? I like how this bill is worded so far because it kind of sounds like what we were talking about, but neurotechnology is wow, that is forward looking. While this act focuses primarily on neural data, I thought this was neutral data. Neural data. Neural data. Why was I saying neutral data? God, am I slow? I didn't mean to say that, but I meant to say am I dense? Wow, yeah, that's forward looking. God, I can't believe I've been saying neutral this whole time. That's really embarrassing. I need to read. Uh, USA Act focuses primarily on neural data related biometric and behavioral data that can reveal mental states, may pose similar risk and warrant comparative analysis to identify broader privacy gaps. I think behavioral data is really key here. It's carrying a lot of weight because I feel like social media data, like usage information, can be assigned under the umbrella that is behavioral data. I mean, goddamn, that's like everything, you know? What you swipe your credit card on, your shopping habits, that's behavioral. You know, this behavioral data really is all encompassing, I would think. I can't imagine any other data that's not behavioral data. Maybe like medical data, you know, like medical records, because that's not behavior, that's just, you know, private health information, you know. Wow, that's interesting. In this act, artificial intelligence, the term artificial intelligence has the meaning given such term in Section 5002 of the Natural Artificial Intelligence Initiative Act of 2020. Commission, the term commission, federal agency. Neural data, the term neural data means information obtained by measuring the activity of an individual's central and peripheral nervous systems through the use of neurotechnology. Neurotechnology means a device, system, or procedure that accesses, monitors, records, analyzes, predicts, stimulates, or alters the nervous system of a device, system, or procedure that accesses, monitors, records, analyzes, predicts, stimulates, or alters the nervous system of an individual to understand, influence, restore, or anticipate the structure, activity, or function of the nervous system. What about the nervous system? Is dopamine tied to the nervous system? Nervous system? It's probably a dumb question, but directly tied to the nervous system. All right, so hear me out. With this, this could be a great way to like regulate social media companies, right? Because the entire algorithm, you know, that people talk about is just it's rigged to give you a dopamine hit, right? And that's how you get addicted to scrolling. And all platforms, all recommendation platforms, I imagine are are built out along or endless scrolling, platforms or implementations would fall under these definitions, right? Because let's see, it's a device, system, procedure that accesses, monitors, records, analyzes, predicts, stimulates, or alters the nervous system of an individual to understand, influence, restore, or anticipate the structure, activity, or function of the nervous system. Other related data. The term other related data means biometric, physiological, or behavioral information that does not directly measure the other related data. Biometric, physiological, or behavioral information that does not directly measure the neural activity or central or peripheral nervous system of an individual, but can be processed, analyzed, or combined with other data to infer, predict, or reveal cognitive, emotional, or psychological states or neurological conditions. This is so goddamn based. This bill is based. Oh my God. Uh, this is huge. Privacy. Well, at least definitions are huge. Privacy, that kind of sucks. I was saying we all get paid for it, but I, let me take that back. I didn't say anything along these lines. I mean this dumbass thing was regulations for data brokers. People get paid for their data every time it swaps hands. Yeah, this is completely separate. This is completely separate. But we should see how this what this regulates. Because if this provides a system to see how that data swaps hands, you know, if this lays the groundwork, then we can say, hey, people are producing a lot of data. We need to, keep that flow of information, going. Let's have some kickbacks. But no, what I'm saying is dumb. This is really important. This is huge. On neural data governance, study report. In general, the Commission shall conduct a study on what additional authorities, if any, the federal government conduct a study on what additional authorities, if any, the federal government needs to regulate neural data and other related data that can reveal an individual's mental state or activity and establish appropriate privacy protections for individuals in the United States. Best practices for privacy and data security for the private sector to protect such data. The extent to which existing laws, regulation, and governing frameworks, including the Health Insurance Portability and HIPAA public law, govern the use, storage, processing, portability, and privacy of such data, any gaps in law that should be addressed, and potential additional protections for such data that fall outside the scope of such act. How does this okay, so the protections of that data, it doesn't stop people from having this data. You know what I mean? Like this is like so protecting people from having this data. Okay, so Facebook, right? Or Instagram or TikTok have all this behavioral data on every single user that's engaged with their platform, right? Protecting that data, putting the same restrictions on it like you do for HIPAA for PHI, that doesn't stop that company from continuing to, you know, sell or manipulate the algorithm and push narratives if they are doing that thing. You know, it's not just if it's not just like a trending thing. Uh, you know, what is this asking for? Is this just like to encrypt the data to put regulation? If they put regulations on who can sell the data, who can exchange data, that this behavioral data, uh, that could be important. But even if you de-identify the data, you still have, you know, it's not about because the behavioral data doesn't mean shit if it's just about one person. You know what I mean? You have to have like a collection of people that match this same demographic info to really see trends in behavioral data. At least that's my assumption, speculating based on what I know about, you know, you know, analysis. You know, uh, so yeah, even if they protect the data and de-identify it, selling it to someone else, you're still going to get the benefits of that data, you know, and the impact that that data has. That you're able to predict, anticipate. What do they say? Predict, anticipate the neural. Infer, predict, or reveal cognitive, emotional, or psychological states or neurological conditions. It's crazy. It's crazy that that is written out like that because it's literally saying if you have the data to predict how a person is feeling, like that's what that means, you know? And if you collect enough of that data, if this law really holds out and that's like that is to the extent that analysis can be done on this data, you lose free will. Like I mean at the end of the day, you lose free will. Like if they can predict how you feel and like can influence your or anticipate your next state and know like what you're gonna do, uh, what's stopping them from manipulating the way you behave and doing like a kind of a self-supporting, you know, feedback loop of, you know, experimenting on you, watching you behave, recording the interaction, influencing you again, seeing the results, training their model, coming back, influencing you again, and just like kind of pushing you along and building a model for who you are as a person. That's kind of fucked up. That's really fucked up. Because then what if it gets to the point where they anticipate every not only they anticipate every step you make, and by step I mean everything, how you feel, how you act, uh, probably to the granularity of what you think, and they know how to make you do other things, like influence you to take certain actions or to believe certain things. I mean, those two together. I mean, what do you have that's that's yours? Like, what kind of autonomy do you have as an individual? That's pretty goddamn scary. That's pretty goddamn scary, and you know, it's I mean, where do you go from that? You know, I can. the weird thing is like I can look past it and it's like, so they influence, they try to push me to do certain things. They try to push me to use TikTok Talk Shop or to stay on Instagram longer. Uh, but what other kind of power can be derived from this, And what about really like these large data brokers that collect information from hundreds of sources, thousands of sources, uh, and what do they do with it? What are the we I can only think of social media, algorithm influencing people, but what about the people that are behind the scenes with a lot of money, with a lot of influence, that are able to pull these predictive models, that can what did I say? Uh da, 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 da. We need to regulate neural data and other related data that can reveal an individual's mental state or activity and to establish. Did I go further down? Term other related data means biometric, physiological, or behavioral information that is not directly measured the neural activity or the central or the peripheral nervous systems of an individual, but can be processed, analyzed, and combined with other data to infer, predict, or reveal cognitive, emotional, or physiological or psychological states or neurological conditions. May include heart rate variability, eye tracking patterns, voice analysis, facial expression recognition, sleep patterns, and other signals derived from consumer devices, wearable, or biosensors. I'm about to throw this goddamn Apple Watch out the window. Uh, and it's tied to your phone too. Your phone's got a gyrosphere, it accelerometer in it. It knows what you're doing. It can track your breathing patterns. That's what's crazy. It tracks your breathing patterns. I mean, that's how it knows you're in deep sleep. Crazy, absolutely crazy. I mean, I think that's the Apple Watch that does that, but okay, so yeah, it's fucked. Excuse my language, but that's crazy. Okay, the fact that they're laying it out like that. If people knew this, I mean, people already assume like, I like, soccer, so I get a lot of soccer content or whatnot. But it's like I feel like you can only express so much through an Instagram algorithm for like what content you serve someone, but I don't know, that's just crazy. It's like you think about sheep. like literally, like, I can influence what you do. I know which steps you're going to take, and if you make something that I don't anticipate, that's going to become more training data for me to better build my model and better predict you in the future moving forward. That's like sick, dude. Like why why shouldn't I get paid for that? You know what I mean? Like if I'm just like I'm a model that you build, insights off of, why don't you pay me, That's crazy. I can't believe they're using this kind of language. So where was I? Federal Trade Commission report on neural data governance. In general, the commission conduct a study. What additional authorities extent to which existing laws, regulation, or governing frameworks include HIPAA, governing use, storage, processing, portability, and privacy of such data. Okay, so if they govern the use, that would be really important. What can you use the data for? Storage, making sure it's stored securely. Sure, make sure it's not vulnerable to exfiltration. Processing, I don't know what that is supposed to mean. Portability, maybe if it's like who can exchange hands with what, what is, are you able to sell certain stuff? And privacy, de-identify people. But like I said earlier, my hypothesis is that when it comes to behavioral data like this, a single person isn't going to make or fucking break it. But if you fall into a category of people that already have a model that exists, they could probably use that identified data and be like, oh, this is Lenny. I know how Lenny is going to behave and act because he has these characteristics in his data set that puts him in this model that we built. Privacy is probably super important in that regard. That's probably very, very important. Potential additional protections for such data that fall outside the scope of such act. Consultation. In conducting the studies described in subparagraph A, the Commission shall conduct with Director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy, the Commissioner of Food and Drugs, other relevant federal agencies determined appropriate by the Commission, and representatives of the private sector, academia, civil society, consumer advocacy organizations, labor organizations, patient advocacy organizations, and clinical research stakeholders, including medical and healthcare professionals. Here's an idea. I form an association, right? And I just form an association of all the people from the gang stalking Reddit. And I'd be like, hey, they're following everything we do. They know our next step. You know why they know our next step? Because of this. And I should just represent all these crazy ass people on Reddit and go to Chuck and be like, hey, yeah, you need to think about these things. That would be funny. That would be a funny meme. But legitimately, we should figure out a way to get involved here. We should figure out a way to get involved. We should look into this because if they're going to take representatives from the private sector, I'm not the guy to speak to it because I haven't really done it. I mean, not haven't. I literally have not done anything like credible professionally. Uh, Academically, maybe. Not even. Not even. I got a good GPA, but that was about it. I didn't like. I'm not published. I was saying that this morning. No cool research projects. No, I've made no real contributions to society besides like good customer service. At Best Buy. Like, fuck. Sorry. Academia, civil society, consumer advocacy organizations, labor organizations, patient advocacy organizations, clinical research stakeholders, including medical and healthcare professionals. God, yeah, yeah, who jumps in to say that? Uh, Not later than 1 year after the date of enactment of this act, the Commission shall submit to Congress a report on the study conducted under paragraph 1 that includes the information described in subsection B and describes a regulatory framework that maximizes opportunities for responsible innovation in neurotechnology while minimizing the risks of harm that arise from such innovations, such as discrimination, profiling, surveillance, manipulation, and the misuse of neural data and other relevant data in employment, healthcare, financial services, education, commerce, public life, and publish the report on the website of the Commission. Report contents. The report described in subsection A2 shall include an analysis of the collection, processing, storage, sale, and transfer of neural data and other related data, and all relevant uses of neurotechnology, neural data, and other related data for understanding, analyzing, and influencing human mental states and behavior. A study of the ethical, legal, and regulatory landscape surrounding neural data and other related data that can reveal an individual's mental state or activity, including any existing guidelines related to the collection of such data, consent for the collection, use, and transfer of data. That's another big thing. Where the hell is my consent to have this information pulled, from my phone? It's like I'm using your app. Does that give you the right to track where my eye is on the screen? That feels like an invasion of privacy. Don't watch me use your app. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. I can't believe that this bill is being proposed. I can't believe this language. It is absolutely insane. It's science fiction. It is absolutely science fiction. And the implications of what they're saying is pretty goddamn like it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. You think about a nation of like sheep, and it's like this is describing the framework of why that's possible, and this bill is trying to prevent that by at least providing some sort of regulation on again the use, interoperability, transfer, collection, storage, privacy, all of that. Very forward thinking, very dystopian, really. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Holy, my lord. I can't believe this is legit. I can't believe this is legit. I totally thought I was being thrown for a loop. My God. A summary of the ethical, legal, and regulatory landscape surrounding neural data and other related data that can reveal an individual's mental state or activity, including any existing guidelines related to the collection, consent, individual rights relating to such data, predictive modeling, and using such data to infer and influence behavior. This is good. This will solve America. Realistically, like the problems we have had from like fucking 2008 to 2025. I'm trying to think of when Facebook was around. See, 2008, I was pretty young. I'm a young adult, you know, almost a just regular adult, but yeah. When was Facebook? 2004. Okay, yeah. 2004, I'm gonna use Facebook because Facebook was really the start of all of it, right? Social media, all that. MySpace, get out of here. Facebook was huge. 2004 to 2025, almost 20 years of problems will be ultimately solved, legitimately solved. If it's able to allow people, if it prevents harmful content from being filtered into your stream for whatever reason, whether it's to drive engagement or if it's to push, probably just to drive engagement, to drive clicks, click-through rates. So if you get rid of that, you get rid of people going down, you know, silos and rabbit holes. I'm trying to think if it would solve like the whole polarization of just polarizing topics. I guess the only one I can think about is politics. You know, a hard right and a hard left divide. I'm trying to think if it would solve that because you would still have influencers who are pushing a certain narrative and you would follow those influencers. But you know, how viral would that go? Would you get recommended to other content? You know, if we have the ability to confirm regulation on the use of this data, can we say that this data can only be used to bring people together or like to bring like to build up a middle ground, you know? Yeah, what does that use really mean? Like if they can't use that data, how does the recommendation algorithms get tuned or adjusted? Like what is that, you know, if they have no data on this is what this person would really like next. You know, this is how we get them to stay on the app for longer. What does social media look like after that? You know, what are these conversations on X and Instagram look like? What do the comments look like? Where do these radical people, the people that are truly radical that are you know, uh not anticipating, they not exacerbate either. They cause the problem. They antagonize, you know, the antagonists, uh, you know, these radical antagonists that are trying to get, you know, a reaction out of someone. Where do those people find their way in the global economy, in the global, you know, population of people that are online for certain platforms? You know, where do those people end up? You know, uh, I don't know what any of what I said is. I don't know if any of that is relevant because I'm thinking about what I'm saying at the same time, and it's I'm trying to speak more than I'm trying to think. This is crazy. This is insane. Uh, this is gonna be groundbreaking. This is going to be like earth shattering. And if nobody's talking about it when it's referred to a committee, if it's not making any like I can't imagine a sane person, regardless of where they are on the political spectrum and whatnot, reading this bill and being like, oh yeah, no, that's overreaching. You know, private companies have the right to influence my behavior, to anticipate and predict my mental state, my physiological state, and neurological conditions. Private companies deserve to have that power because it's their American right to control, to literally control consumers, and they have the right to sell that to anyone else that wants to get in on the fun. That's how do you not support that? You know, that's it's literally like protecting free will. Like I keep on going back to free will. Like this is it. You know what I mean? God, I feel passionate about this. This is huge. I would make a petition to I would advocate for this. I'd be like, "Hey, you guys need to wake the F up. This is huge. Okay? This is exactly what we need just to get our foot in the door. So if we have to make changes in the future, all of the big work has been done to establish, you know, integrating, you know, regulations into this field before it gets to the point where we already have these massive predictive models, these massive data sets of behavioral information paired with the advances in AI technology and machine learning in general that can make these predictive models, also including, this is anticipating for neural implants where they can just really tap into your brain and see very fine granularity, uh, how you're reacting in a moment. This is extremely important. I don't even know what you would be able to do with neurological data, like brain waves and shit like that. I have no clue what that is. But the protection for it, yeah, absolutely. I don't want you to just be willy-nilly and sell my brainwave patterns, my brainwave history to anyone that's got a big enough wallet to make the trade. That's that's super important. That's super important. That's super, holy shit. Uh, Not to mention, if this is just now coming out, like if this is just now coming out as law, they say DARPA is like 50 years ahead of the current times. Like that's, something to look into. The right was all about distrust and conspiracy. That's a goddamn conspiracy to sink your teeth in on. And it's like, okay, if this is just now being talked about, what's the advanced research projects division of United States been busy with? You know what I mean? Like if they have access to this kind of data, these kind of models are coming out. Oh, this cutting edge. It's like historically DARPA's always been about like 40 to 50 years ahead of the curve. You know, what are we capable of? That's a crazy question. I don't like to think about that because it's like a lot of that's speculation and it's like tinfoil hat stuff, but it's something to think about. I mean, it's an advanced research organization for a reason. And the fact that this legislation is using this kind of language suggesting these kind of things, just ask. Don't pursue it. I wouldn't pursue it, but it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. You know, what are we looking at? Neural and other related data is collected, processed, transferred in interstate commerce, and the benefits and risks associated with the collection and use of such data, including how such data may serve the public interest. Okay, an assessment of how neural and other related data is collected, processed, and transferred in interstate commerce, and the benefits and risks associated with the collection and use of such data, including, I'm reading, but I'm not comprehending, the benefits and risks associated with the collection and use of such data, including how such data may serve the public interest, improve quality of life of the people of the United States, or advance innovation in neurotechnology and neuroscience, and how the use of such data may pose risks to individuals, including vulnerable populations across different contexts or use cases. Recommendations for, okay, what are the benefits? What are the risks, right? Uh, this really pushes me to like reach out to some like genuinely like really like respected and capable cybersecurity experts, because if anyone is going to be able to answer this question, 3A to 3B, it's going to be the cybersec guys, the people that are doing the social engineering, that understand the impact that this kind of intelligence would have. Not to mention people in the armed forces, you know, like special operations people, uh, people that require a lot of planning. Uh, being able to have insights to this data. We need to also reach out to, God, who do you reach out to for consultation on this? Like behavioral health scientists? You need someone that's got a behavioral health science background with a data science degree. And you need to consult, you need to get that person with someone who's a cybersecurity expert and be like, hey, if I gave you this information and I let you know, like, if this is the kind of data you had access to, what kind of things could you do with this? Especially with people that are like physical pen testers who are like, you know, breaking into places. people that are just like genuine good hackers. You know what I mean? Like people that think outside the box and break shit, uh, and infiltrate shit. Be like, oh yeah, I could fucking ruin a person if I knew this. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of people that need to have this kind of voice when it comes to this severity. They'd be like, yeah, we kind of need to take this seriously. We need to, we need to do more with this. Uh, I could be way like overhyping the impact that this could have. What I'm saying could be actually completely unrealistic, but I would put the odds of that at like 10 to 20%. I think like 80% of the scenarios I'm trying to draw and the assumptions I'm like concluding are accurate or valid. Like 80% of what I've said is probably valid. Uh, Recommendations for the categorization oversight of neural data and other related data issues, including a framework that distinguishes categories of such data, classifying such data both based on both the potential for beneficial use cases, including medical, scientific, or assistive applications, and the potential for individual, societal, or group level harm arising from misuse. Oversight and other related data issues. All right, describes the properties of such data based on its capacity to directly or indirectly identify an individual or to reveal or infer sensitive personal information about an individual, and suggests corresponding governance requirements such as heightened oversight, stricter consent standards, prohibited use cases regardless of individual consent, enhanced access restrictions, and cybersecurity protections. Absolutely goated. Absolutely goated. If they actually put in, here's the thing, if Instagram prompted users with just a checklist of all the data points they collect on you, and you could opt into every single one, like if you could tune what data is collected about you and there was complete transparency about what kind of information they collect, that would be a step in the right direction. That would be, I mean, that's kind of essential because that's you. That's who you are. I mean that lives forever. You know what I mean? That will never go away. Is that data they collect on you. So having stricter consent standards, that sounds correct. And there needs to be education behind what you consent to. And those consent agreements have to be, I don't even think they have to be verbose. I think it should be bullet points of this is the data point we're collecting on you. This is how it's used. You know what I mean? Like this is how it could be used. How we use it. And if they sell that data, they have to say, this is the data point. This is what we use it for. This is what someone else could use it for. You know what I mean? Like this is how valuable your data is. Because I imagine you could probably still pull off, I imagine you can still sell shit on the internet without having this like completely pervasive, you know, exfiltration of personal information from users. And it's not personal information, it's just all of the data points that surround a person that gives them the insight to anticipate, predict, neurological states, psychological conditions, and inferred behavior. You know what I mean? Like that's not that crazy to you know, they should know that. I forgot what I said at the beginning of that sentence. I'm all fired up. Uh, Such as heightened oversight, stricter consent. Yeah, standards for computational models of the brain and guidance on assessing harms in contexts where such data is integrated with artificial intelligence or used as part of a system designed to influence behavior or decision making. Instagram. Standards for computational models of the brain. That is a crazy statement right there. That sentence, that portion of the sentence, computational models of the brain. Okay, that's what we have. That's what we're building, right? We're building models of behavior. It's crazy. It is crazy. And an analysis of whether, and if so, how individuals may be exposed to unfair, deceptive, or coercive trade practices through the misuse of neural data and other related data across different environments, and recommendations for safeguards to prevent such harms, and recommendations for categorizing certain applications of neural data and other related data, or certain certain practices regarding such data as impermissible, such as those designed to manipulate behavior, erode privacy with respect to an individual's mental state or activity. Yeah, that's solving social media. That's what this bill's for. Uh, no more being depressed because Instagram makes you look at all the thin girls. You know what I mean? Like that's what this addresses. An examination of how the application of artificial intelligence to neural and other related data that can reveal an individual's mental state or activity may reshape the risk, oversight demands, and ethical considerations associated with such data. An examination of how the application of artificial intelligence to neural and okay, how does artificial intelligence play into the mix is what this is saying. Can reveal an individual's mental state or activity may reshape the risks, oversight demands, and ethical considerations associated with such data. This is number 5. What's number 4? What are we saying? This is all about the committee, right? No, this is what the report contains. Okay, so the report contains number 5, an examination. Okay, number 6, the report also contains recommendations for consumer transparency, consent frameworks, and neural data and other related data use restrictions, such as limiting such data use to only clearly disclosed purposes, restricting the resale of such data to third parties, or the use of such data for individual profiling or targeted advertising. Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. The use of separate conspicuous consent mechanisms for the use of such data in developing or deploying computational models of the brain, and public disclosure of intended uses for such data, sharing practices and artificial intelligence applications, and policies related to the retention, deletion of such data, and prohibited use cases regardless of individual consent, recommendations regarding applications of neural data and other related data in specific areas, including sectors or practices that raise concerns about privacy, manipulation, discrimination, inequality, and long-term harm, such as employment practices, such as in hiring, surveillance, or performance evaluation, educational settings, and other settings involving children under the age of 13 and teens, insurance, financial and housing services, neuromarketing, and behavioral shaping, including the targeting of consumers, commercial surveillance, which is what all of this is, and monetization models such as data brokers that aggregate or sell neural data and other related data. The transfer of neural data and other related data through acquisitions, mergers, or bankruptcy proceedings, law enforcement and criminal justice systems, and sectors where algorithmic recommendation or design patterns intentionally amplify addictive use or behavioral manipulation. This is goated. This is goated. This will solve a lot of things. And I just had a crazy idea while I was reading that whole blurb. Okay, 10 years from now, right? This doesn't exist. This act doesn't exist. But, you know, models have become widely available. Let's say you date someone that has a lot of resources. What is stopping that person from buying all the data about you and building one of these models to predict your behavior and to stalk you and predict what you do and to just totally drive you crazy and like control you? You know, that's a little hyperbolic considering, you know, the barriers to entry for that scenario, but yeah, I mean, it's corporate stalking. Let's bring it down to a more human level. What if it's your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend that's employing these models against you? You know what I mean? To predict your behavior, to predict your mental state, to anticipate your psychological mindset. You know, that's scary. You know, because because private organizations, they don't give a shit about the individual. They just care about numbers and, you know, converting sales or whatnot. You know, increasing profit margins. You know, trying to stay alive and get rich. But, you know, you put it behind an individual and give them that kind of power and capabilities. You know, what kind of sick shit could they carry out? Uh, it's terrifying. It's terrifying if you bring it down to that level, which wouldn't happen. You know, it's very unrealistic, but it's a possibility without these, you know, safeguards in place. Could that happen today? Maybe. Maybe that's happening right now. Maybe that does happen today and we just don't know about it and we don't hear about it. But, you know, that is a possibility. What is this whole section even about? So what goes into the report? Okay, recommendations, a categorization, an examination of how the application of artificial intelligence, recommendations for consumer transparency, consent frameworks, and neural data, and other related data use restrictions such as ABCD. E. And then we'll also provide recommendations in the report, recommendations regarding applications of neural data and other related data specific areas, including sectors or practices that raise concerns about privacy. Okay, so recommendations regarding the use of this data in sectors or practices that raise concerns about privacy, such as these examples. Sectors where algorithmic recommendation or design intentionally amplify addictive use and behavioral manipulation. B is recommendations regarding applications of the data, how existing federal statutes enforced by the Commission, including by the Federal Trade Act, and other consumer protection laws apply to neural data and other related data. And whether there are regulatory gaps in protecting the privacy of children and teens, including the applicability of the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act of 1998 and related laws to neural data and other related data. An analysis of the potential security risks associated with the collection, use, and transfer of neural data and other related data, including an assessment of current cybersecurity and data protection requirements applicable to entities that collect, process, or store neural data and other related data, including any gaps in such requirements where such entities fall outside existing federal standards such as HIPAA. An assessment of the interagency review models to determine whether certain exports, public releases, or commercial uses of neural technologies, including their component parts and integration with artificial intelligence systems, should be subject to restrictions or enhanced controls. On examination of foreign investment risk in neurotechnology firms, there's probably a huge one, probably huge. That's what this whole TikTok deal is all about, right? They don't want the Chinese to have, U.S. Behavioral data. That's exactly what this is, what that interest is. I mean, we're buying a huge company off of China because we're concerned about having American data stored on Chinese servers where they can do their own analysis on it. You know, recommendations on actions the government and non-government actors can take to ensure transparency and due diligence and international partnerships involving such data. Supply chain risks involving, God, there's 5 more pages, involving components used in neurotechnology that are acquired from foreign countries, implications of storing and processing such data locally versus in cloud environments, recommendations for incentive structures that promote ethical innovation, voluntary standards, financial support for responsible scientific inquiry, regulatory sandbox mechanisms to enable early stage neural data applications. So we're getting to the brain chip. We're getting to an embedded device in your brain. So that's sick. Embedded artificial intelligence. That is super hype. That is really cool. Love that we have the concerns in place because this is where we're heading. Policies that promote long-term support for users of brain-computer interfaces such as interoperability standards and post-trial practices. What did I literally just say 2 seconds ago? Policies that promote long-term support for users of brain-computer interfaces such as interoperability standards and post-trial maintenance practices. If anyone's in computer science right now getting a PhD, I would be jockeying up to be on the NIST commission that starts writing these standards for interoperability with brain devices. Like the guys that wrote TCP/IP, all those standards, all those communication protocols. That's where you want to go. That would be sick. That would be sick. That would be so cool. Is if you wrote one of the standards for how a brain-computer chip interacts with other devices. That would be killer. That would be sick. Are you kidding me? That is insane. That is dope. That is what you should shoot for. That is huge. Competitive incentives, such as procurement preferences for companies that meet specified standards relating to the use of neurotechnology. Public and private partnerships to develop open standards and ethical practices regarding the treatment of neural data and other related data ways. The Centers of Medicaid and Medicaid Services and the Food and Drug Administration can coordinate on the use and approval of neurotechnology to reduce reimbursement and coverage barriers. That's cool. Proposed framework for enforcement mechanisms, remedies, and penalties for the misuse of, gross negligence regarding the use of, and unauthorized collection, use, transfer, or disclosure of neural data and other related data. and other analysis and recommendations determined appropriate by the Commission. Annual updates, not later than 1 year after the date the Commission submits the report to Congress under subsection A, and not less frequently than annually thereafter, the Commission shall publicly update the findings in the report such that reflect the evolving advancements in neurotechnology. That's huge. It's not just one report. It's going to be every year. Every year we're giving an update about what just a pulse check on where we are, how the data is used, all the concerns that it can have. Huge, absolutely huge. Give these people jobs for life and pay them 100 grand. Like, yeah, this is important. Use cases, associated risks, assesses whether individuals' additional reports or updates to any guidance are necessary to ensure that privacy, particularly as it relates to neural data and other related data, continue to be protected. Authorization of appropriations. There is authorized to be appropriated 10 million for purposes of carrying out this section. Conditional limitations on federal agency use of neural data. Guidance to federal agencies. In general, not later than 100 days after the Commission submits this report described in Section 4A2, Director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy, in consultation with the Commission and Director of the Office of Management and Budget, shall develop guidance using such report to inform such guidance regarding the procurement and operational use by the federal agencies of neurotechnology that collects, uses, procures, and otherwise processes neural data and other related data. Such guidance shall identify prohibited, permissible, and conditionally permitted use cases of such neurotechnology that are consistent with the report, technological, procedural, and ethical safeguards regarding each use case of such neurotechnology, requirements for transparency, limitations regarding the purposes for which such neurotechnology can be used, individual opt-in consent mechanisms regarding the use of such neurotechnology, and protections for the privacy of the people of the United States. Binding guidance. Not later than 60 days after the Director of Office of Science and Technology Policy develops the guidance under paragraph 1. The Director of the Office of Management and Budget shall issue binding implementation guidance to each federal agency pursuant to the guidance prohibition. In general, the head of the federal agency may not procure or operate any neural technology that collects, uses, procures, or otherwise processes neural data in a manner inconsistent with the guidelines issued under this subsection. Effective date. Paragraph 1 shall take effect on the date that is 1 year after the date on which the Director of the Office of Management and Budget issues guidance in accordance with subsection A2. Wow. I need to download that. I need to download that. I just doxed all my downloads. Don't worry about that. But wow. What a bill. What a bill. What an act. It's on his website. Look at this fucking guy. Look at that grin. Uh, where was I'm still kind of confused why I can't find anything more about this. Why is the Congress, why is there no bill passed or budget passed? Come on. All right, we got real shit going on here. Uh, Laser Discovery Research job creating engine named finalist for National Science Foundation Innovation Engines. Thought they were talking about an actual engine there for a second. I still can't believe I haven't found like anything else besides this. Two hours ago. So they plan to introduce it. Soon introduce a novel bill in Congress that, if passed, would set forces in motion to address concerns that some have about the rapid advancement of neurotechnologies that can read and write to the human mind. That's not even it. That's not. Yes, it's about brain-computer interfaces, but it's talking about the behavioral data that exists now. That's what people need to. I know the brain-computer chip is, grabs attention, but it's like that's that's just part of what this bill really addresses. Sorry, I'm just like I just got lost reading this. September 26th. That was today. That was today. Written by Cooley LLP. What the hell is Cooley? What's Cooley? Tech and life sciences. How did they get? Okay, so Cooley is legitimate. I don't think I've seen anyone besides Cooley post anything. Wow, 2 days ago. What was 2 days ago? Wednesday, May 19th. Wow, they were talking about this back in May. Cooley's was at least. State passes privacy laws to protect brain data collected by devices. Colorado, California, Montana. Neural data privacy laws meant to prevent the exploitation. This is July 23rd. This is June 25th in May. Holy shit. Okay, so this has been a trend going on forever, but this bill or this act will put it on a federal scale, which is huge because states have been enacting it. What did it? It was Colorado, Montana, and California. U.S. map. Hang on. Um, Montana, Colorado, and California. Damn, I didn't think Montana would be so ahead of the game. But wow. Yeah, it's super important that this gets introduced. I wonder when that will get introduced. We should keep an eye on that. I'm gonna set a note on my phone to keep an eye for that. The Mind Act. Uh, yeah, that is huge. Holy shit. Holy shit, that's like breaking. That's breaking news. I don't know why no one's talking about the other data section of that bill. That seems pretty important because that's like what we have now, you know? How does how does, you know, data that's being collected now not fall under that category? You know? Oh my God. That's incredible. That's incredible. I might call it a night. I'm getting pretty tired actually, but oh my God. Excuse me. Sorry. Holy shit. Wow. Wow. That's so dystopian. So dystopian. In fact, we're doing something about it. That's huge. That is huge. Huh. I don't know. I'm just super tired right now. You know that was 18 pages of me yelling. So I mean, what else do we look at? I mean, what do you have after that? I mean, I guess you know, uh, uh, what? Yeah.
Why?
Oh, speaking of which, didn't that guy get disqualified because he didn't do the hand signals correctly? That sucks. That's me coming up on that ball. You know, this is me on the court. Another game. It's the fact that he opens his eyes too while he does it. Imagine that popping up on the side of your bed when you're first waking up in the morning. God damn. Oh, that would freak me out. That's such a funny shot. It's not even that funny. It's really not. It's not, but I think it's hilarious. God, look at this man. Yeah. Yep. What are you gonna do? You know? What are you gonna do? Was LeBron. Oh man, he's the GOAT though. I don't watch basketball, but I heard he's pretty good. I don't know. I don't know shit. I don't know anything. I know that bill's gonna be huge though. I really hope that gets momentum. Wish I had more friends, you know? Wish I had more friends to tell about this. You know, shake them real hard and get people to vote my way. God damn. Uh, yeah. That's about it. It's really hot in here. It's hot in this in my apartment. I haven't had the AC on at all day, and it's getting pretty stuffy in here. It's starting to like smell like my breath, you know? I'm gonna open up a window and fucking get some air circulating because it's stuffy. I feel gross. I feel gross. I feel greasy from that calzone, and all this yelling has warmed up this area around me. Turn on this AC unit. Oh man, but I appreciate you stopping by. Uh, God, so important. What a monumental day. It was a good day for me too. I mean, it was just a good day for me regardless. I had a great morning. You know, work was good. Came out of here, you know, had a really good calzone, and then found this uh, earth mind shattering bill that's supposed to be introduced, hasn't been introduced yet. Uh, Pretty goddamn huge. But yeah, good day. Good day. Ugh. Yeah. All right. Let's go let's go hug our loved ones and let's go scroll Instagram, you know, collect as much data as possible before the goddamn government comes cracking down on it. Let's let's give away all of our behavioral data, while we still can, while it's still an American right, to forfeit that information willing or, against your will, against your knowledge, behind your back. Uh, yeah, that's good. That's good. That's really good. All right. Yeah, maybe see you tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning might be fun. Find something to talk about then. But yeah, hour and a half, not bad. Not bad for a good Friday. So yeah, we will check in tomorrow, see what happens, and kind of monitor. We're gonna monitor this situation for the next couple of days. But that'll be good. Hopefully we don't shut down. But until then, take care. Be the best version of yourself. Have a good night. Sleep well. Uh, yeah, shake someone's hand. Yeah, look them in the eye. Be like, "Hello, I see you. You're heard." That's kind of gay. Don't say that last part. That last part's kind of weird. Just be like, "I hear you," and they'll be like, "What?" And just be like, I'm hard of hearing, but I hear you." Just letting you know that you are heard. It's like